float, and we are going to get it right here into game one. It is going to be PeW and Youseff here in losers round 4 in top 24, looking to continue their runs further into this bracket.
Here's what's really interesting about both of these guys, right? Youseff is a very explosive Mario, a fan favorite in the German scene, someone who at first didn't really know how to play the character, but as time went on, surprised the masses in Germany and made things look real smooth here so far. 82% up to the top at the moment, but nothing to take away from the Min player in PeW. A very solid fundamentals base player. Very solid stuff so far.
I was going to say, we can already see that game plan coming out from PeW there, just very much happy to stay underneath that center platform. I'm loving the aggression that we're seeing already in terms of the edge guards, right? It's so tempting as Min to just stick to that really rigid game plan of staying in the middle, even in those moments where you could push a little bit further. But PeW already sort of installing a little bit of fear into Youseff and saying, look, at the end of the day, doesn't matter where you are on stage, I'm going to be right there hunting you down.
Absolutely, and I feel like that's always the best thing to do is, regardless of whether or not you have that sort of smaller stage, you can only assume that Mario would be a lot more, I guess, effective on it. Having a character like Min and playing it the way that PeW has been against Youseff, again, just shows overall dominance in such a good way. Ram working its absolute magic. The invincibility gonna save Youseff a little bit of time here in terms of survival. Youseff backed into a corner, doesn't really know what to do here, Joycey.
Just see PeW again, this relentlessness really sticking underneath that center platform. Another aggressive edge guard as well. It feels like I'm seeing double with the way that the situation repeated itself, and a 3-1 lead here on behalf of PeW. It's very clear that PeW, you know, on paper it could seem that Mario would give Min a little bit of trouble being able to approach on that diagonal trajectory and using their airspeed, and up smash finally going to take that first stock, but it's going to be the first in a long road for Youseff if he wants to get back into this first game.
It's all about momentum at this point. I feel like once you get that first stock in a very early game, you can run away with it. It's going to put a mental toll on your opponent. PeW has been able to show that really nicely. Again, exploiting the way that Youseff is recovering on stage, consistently being able to punish that up B, working his magic really nicely here. And again, that game one was looking kind of rough for Youseff.
It was really good as well in that last stock there, how PeW caught the double jump sort of immediately at around that 50%. And then even just those little tiny hits with the Ram just being able to, you know, just push a little bit further away and just about get that stock at 60% as well. It's going to be really tricky. I think a character like Min with how different she plays compared to the rest of the cast, I think there's this, it can almost take a game or two for you to almost get into the mindset of what you need to, you know, like the ranges that Min can be at, because it's a very jarring character, particularly if you haven't warmed up against her or played against her in recent times. So we may see some pretty sort of significant adjustments come out from Youseff, and you know, similarly, PeW has already got a very well thought out game plan. You could see certainly on that, you know, staying in that center stage, knowing those timings and those habits where Youseff was going to jump and use those defensive habits. So it's going to be interesting to see the sort of the adjustments and readjustments from both of these players. And we're already seeing that Pokemon Stadium 2, Mario, big fan of every stage really. The stage is really playing into his hands, but Stadium definitely one of the ones that you're going to be looking for. And we can see already 62% trying to get that up tilt to end it all there, but an aggressive approach there from PeW, saving his skin.
I like the way that Youseff decided to go ahead and just take as much damage as possible in the early stages of this game. Again, trying to be as aggressive as possible, not allowing PeW to get in close, because if he lets the gates of hell open, it'll be a difficult way of getting out. A couple back airs being thrown out here again for edge guarding purposes, trying to take out PeW. Down air's going to do something here, not particularly. Once again, Youseff looking for that kill confirm, but again, the shield out at the perfect time here from PeW. And once again, it's just like game number 1, the edge guarding from Min. Just such a scary thing to deal with if you're Mario.
Just what a reversal as well, right? It felt like Youseff really had the momentum all the way through that first stock, particularly that first little exchange, that 70-80%. But I'm really loving these down airs coming out from PeW. He's really doing a good job at adjusting the tempo in which Youseff has got to be almost ready to throw out a hitbox. Obviously, PeW managing to lose that stock, and Youseff sort of really keeping the lead a little bit closer. Yeah, but it's just, you know, again, the tempo between both of these players, it feels like PeW has already begun to make these little adjustments already from game 1, game 2, and anticipation of what Youseff has got going. However, it's
Oh,
these
here we
platforms,
go.
and there we go, the up B off the top, stunning DI there from PeW, but that is the danger of taking the plumber to the stadium because he has got those combos on lock.
Absolutely, and again, platform extensions definitely work out here. As with someone who's consistent with them as Youseff is, it's definitely going to work out a lot more in his favor. The only problem that he has right now is being able to close in that gap, ensuring that he doesn't recover in the same way, because consistently, time after time, it becomes PeW's domain. Ram once again working so well to push Mario, and again, he has such a linear recovery, not going to be able to make it back onto stage here. 116% definitely doable, but Youseff is going to have to do something now in order to take said stock.
There we go, Min stuck at the ledge. A bit of an optimistic up smash there and giving the PeW an opportunity, getting 25% on the board, and a nice 1-2 piece there. The second hit managed to go, but wonderful parry into that turnaround up smash, and Youseff still hanging on.
Youseff is doing so well to adapt, especially from the first game. Stage change definitely worked out a lot more in his favor. The question is now, will he be able to run away with it? There's the grab, down throw, looking for that up air. Brilliant shield there from PeW. Gets the punish in as well, holding onto that center stage, as you mentioned earlier, Joycey, and is making it work so well. Parry, no punish. Once again, Youseff still in the eye of the storm.
Youseff, there we go, using the double jump there. Oh, but I'm not sure if he landed. Oh, and I don't think it matters.
That's unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. Oh no.
Wow, what a...
Oh no.
That's the thing with PeW, is that it's these twos and fros with the tempo, right? You've got this sort of, this one side of the coin where it's these little nickels and dimes, these little just sort of tips and taps that are just sort of slowly building up the percent. But then when the offstage game starts to happen, you see this almost like unearthly beast emerge, and this, you know, really taking advantage, going for the jump reads, going for the air dodge reads. And even then I thought, you know, Youseff had kept the double jump, had done a really good job trying to go high and then feign low a little bit, but PeW just had coverage on coverage on coverage, really knowing how to utilize the true strengths of his character to get a 2-0 on the board. And Youseff staring down the barrel of a reverse 3-0, and it's been such a quick set so far. There were real signs of life, don't get it twisted, but you know, Yousseff's got to really carry on pushing forward with that momentum, and we're going to run it back to Stadium 2 here as well.
I've definitely seen Youseff pull out a massive comeback before. Again, it's just seemingly a lot more comfortable. Again, we're going to Pokemon Stadium 2, running it straight back. Both players deciding that this was the best here. Again, it doesn't seem like it was too much of a huge problem for PeW, but one thing that obviously you just mentioned, which is very true, is being able to use... Oh, hold on. Double dunk here from Youseff to start things off really early.
Oh, that was such a gorgeous... What a statement to make as well in that game 3. And Youseff just definitely taking it slower and just really sort of clinging on to the Min at the moment. But PeW, once again, managing to get back into that center stage. But we're going to see what Youseff has got there.
Oh, no.
Stunning DI in, just about making it. And again, this time stunning DI out, just quite being out of range there. So Youseff can't get that dunk once again. And we can see just time and time again how relentless PeW is with these edge guards. Thankfully, Youseff managing to throw out that up B just in time to get rid of that barrage. But again, it's so difficult in those situations.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better myself. The great thing about Youseff right now is I'm seeing a lot more patience in his gameplay. He's not panic mashing in certain scenarios that will get him punished. And it's certainly a lot more interesting to see, because you play a lot more patient against a character like Min, who can be played aggressively the way that PeW is, and all of a sudden you see these holes start to open up in his gameplay, and it just works out a lot more because Youseff has been able to find those holes and get those punishes. You'll notice that he's been able to hold on to that percentage for quite a long time. But again, Ram doing in the work. PeW looking to seal another stock potentially if we can hold on to this 96 for a little longer.
No, and it's exactly as you said, right? We were, looking at the end of game 1 where Youseff was losing those stocks at sort of 60, 70, 80%. And it's over double that in this game, where Youseff just recognizing the fact that actually if I just play this a little bit patient and I take my time with things, even if they're the nickels and dimes, at the end of the day, Pew's not able to cash in on that stock. But at the end of the day, you've still got to get in on the Min at the moment. These neutral airs doing such a good job at just covering that space around, but the back air gonna do it. I love that attempt there with the lingering neutral air, but the trade looking very interesting. There is still a lot of scrapping despite that added level of patience.
Absolutely. Seeing these air dodges to mix up the movement in terms of the air, in terms of being in the air again with your recovery. Youseff just trying to mix up the way that he is landing. Doesn't want to land on top of PeW all too much. Again, that parry into the up smash definitely worked out a lot more in Pew's favor. Oh, big hit there. Massive punish, up smash coming out from Youseff, and now is in fact finding himself up a stock, Joycey.
I mean, that was such a good reaction as well, right? Particularly in this kind of matchup where Min Min can cover so much depending on what the option she goes for. You have to play a lot of like preemptive spacing in this matchup. You have to sort of really hope that you can sort of call out these timings and call out these moments. And the fact that Youseff recognizing that he was just right next to Min Min, she'd thrown out an arm and just had the up smash ready and waiting, and again, lovely teeny bit of a delay there, allowing it to get past that barrage from PeW. But again, the relentlessness continues. It's in the namesake as PeW trying to make sure that this lead doesn't get too insurmountable.
That's the one thing that you don't want. You have such good momentum going into game 3, potentially trying to end the stock in, or ending the game in such an emphatic fashion. And again, as you said before, you don't want to lose this game, otherwise momentum can really shift. The great thing is that in these last 2 games, however, momentum has consistently shifted between these two, and it kind of has been really interesting to see how both of them have been kind of adapting to each other's playstyles here. Youseff putting in the work, but an up smash here from PeW, and we've seen what PeW can do from these deficits before. The question is, will it be enough against the weight to Youseff? I don't think it will be, because Youseff puts himself on the board.
Finally getting a game there, Youseff again, and I love the fact that immediately had that up air to forward air just on lock, having to use that double jump to get up there as well. But Mario, he's got those acrobatics ready and waiting, and like we said, Youseff finally getting that first game on the board. And again, those elements of patience, it's a little bit sort of like mirroring what we've seen from PeW in those first couple of games, where you've got this real patience in neutral to get these sort of little hits, and then in those situations for PeW, it's the edge guarding, but for Youseff, it's sort of around those platform areas, right, where you can get those little hits into those forward airs. Pew's been doing, Youseff rather, has been doing such a good job at sort of getting more value out of its hits, sort of tightening those screws a little bit going further into this. However, you've still got 2 more games on Pew's counter picks as well, so gonna be a tricky fight, but we have seen him take the first step, and as they say, sometimes taking the first step is the hardest part.
Exactly, and when you do that, you're going to have to try and pray that momentum, you're going to have to hope that momentum is in your favor. But again, as I've said before, I've seen Youseff run away with these before, especially at No Time to Tilt, where he's had an incredible showing of taking one game and then running away with the next. The losers side of bracket can really show how a player can adapt, but we are taking it right back to where we all started here at Smashville. Smaller stage, will it be enough for PeW to make that comeback?
Ooh, and I don't think Pew's managed to land at the moment, getting out that neutral air finally, but taking 61% for his troubles. And yeah, as you say, you know, we started off the set here and we saw that really refined game plan that PeW was more than happy to sort of stick to very, very rigidly. But of course, Youseff had a bit more of a taste of what is to come, had a little bit more time to think about those adjustments. But again, you can't adjust to that level of timing from PeW. Really excellent on the mark there, just getting that first stock, and you know, very, very struggling start here for Youseff.
It's incredible how much a stage can do, right? You just take a look at it and you go, okay, this is interesting. Obviously, PeW has had such great dominance here on Smashville, and especially in game 1. Again, as you said before, staying underneath those platforms, being able to just keep Mario out, and then consistently being able to then just have a good side of the stage to get that edge guard going. It's been working out so well in Pew's favor, especially in the past. The question is now, can Youseff find a remedy around it? Because right now, once again, PeW is looking extremely comfortable here, Joycey.
Oh, and I love that there from Youseff, just going for that really aggressive back air and then catching the jump in with the up smash as well. PeW just trying to get any way out of the corner and using a stock for it. So good. But again, we've seen this from PeW before, just slowly but surely chipping away, trying to get that timing. Thankfully, Youseff managed to get it, but it is rinse and repeat, and that could be the end of the stocking. Yeah, just one more for good measure. 2 stocks to 1 in the favor of PeW, and we are looking very similar to these 2 games. Again, Youseff, you've been digging deep, my friend, but the end of the tunnel is just that little bit further away.
Absolutely. Getting that one stock deficit at the moment here for Youseff, and once again, PeW has just been so comfortable in this center stage area, working it so nicely. That Nair gonna back Youseff off from any aggression here once more, and Min just showing that dominance once again. PeW not letting up in any way, shape, or form. Air dodge gonna be enough to avoid the grab. Youseff with not too many answers finds himself in the corner once again, being pushed off with the dragon laser, and a little bit of sauce to add it out there. PeW beats Youseff 3-1.
What a dominant end to that game as well. And I really love the fact that, again, we were talking a little bit earlier on about those changes of pace. And even though we'd seen a lot of, obviously, the on-stage edge guarding, we'd seen the off-stage edge guarding, but then there was this element in that final moment of, like, I'm going to go even earlier before you've even made that decision of trying to go low or trying to go high. I'm going to make that decision for you, and you're going the other way. So good from PeW. And again, that Smashville pick is so deadly. It's so clear that PeW had that game plan molded in his mind and just really kept to it so rigidly. And even, you know, after the game win on Stadium, managing to run it back to that stage and just very much in his comfort zone, and, you know, really dominant showing, I have to say.
When it comes to, obviously, tempo in a matchup where two characters are overly aggressive, like Mario and like Min, it always comes down to making sure that you have that stage control first. And in that very first game, you know, PeW made that statement very clear going right into game number 1. Game number 2, again, Youseff, slowly but surely, that adaptation was trying to get a little bit more into it. You know, the flow was definitely there, but later down the line afterwards, again, when it came to that stage control, PeW was just everywhere, and it was perfect. Being able to utilize the hitboxes that Min has, being able to just go ahead and extend right off stage as well, not allowing exploiting Mario's recovery on how vertical it is just one of the hardest things to be able to do, especially against a character who's as dominant on stage as Min. But you've got to give credit where credit is due. Youseff is an absolute machine. The dude was able to adapt very nicely, but just wasn't enough when history repeated itself the second time.
Yeah, and obviously PeW going to be continuing. I believe that is into, I want to say, top 16